We are now going to set up our working environment. So what we need to check is to ensure that we have installed Python. After installing Python, we need to ensure that the package manager for Python is also installed. The package manager is known as pip. After installing pip, we also need to ensure that we install the virtual environment so that we are able to manage our project dependencies using the virtual environment package. So if you navigate to Python website, we have this download section. You can download the latest version. Basically, I'm using Linux, and most of the Linux distribution have Python installed out. That is by default. Once you set up any Linux distribution, you can check if Python is already installed. So in my case, Python is already set up. Check to ensure that Python is installed. You can easily just type Python. Basically, Python was an old version. At the time of recording this video, we are using Python 3. So you can just type Python 3 and click enter. If you are able to access the Python console, then that means that Python is installed. We can also check for the version, and we see that we have Python 3.11.2. So if you get an error on checking this, then Python is not installed. So what you need to do, update your system by running that command. Then once you run that command, run this other one so that you can install Python 3. I would recommend us to use Python 3 as at the time of recording this video, since it's the latest one. Then besides installing Python, also add the pip, which is the Python package manager. Click on once you put in the command, just run that command, and that will install Python 3 and also pip. Once the installation has been confirmed, you can run and check what version of Python you are running, and also check the version of pip that you have installed. Having checked these two components, we can now proceed to installing the virtual environment package manager. Let us clear the screen. So what we need to do, we still need to run a command, sudo apt install python 3 venv, then click on enter. So you are being asked which service should be restarted. What you need to do, you just need to click on OK without checking anything. All right. Once we have installed the necessary application and packages, we now need to start our project. So on your terminal, ensure to navigate to the root folder of where you want to set up your application. CD to whatever directory that you wish to do the setup. For the Windows guys, what you need to do, for instance, I'm I'm on this folder, and this is where I want to set up the project. Once you are on this directory, you can click on this bar, then select all, then type cmd and click on enter. This will open the command prompt on that folder. So the next thing will be to create a virtual environment. So what I want to do, let me create a directory here, tutorial. Then I want to cd to tutorial. So to create a virtual environment, let us run this command. We have Python 3, then we have m virtual env, and name it venv. Click on enter. So EVLS, we are able to see the newly created virtual environment folder. So for those on Windows, this may not work, but I believe dir could return the same results. So we need to activate this virtual environment so that whatever packages that we install can be installed on this virtual environment. So basically, the importance of having a virtual environment is this prevents us from installing one version of an application globally, because you may, for instance, for this particular project, you may want to use say version 2.1 of some certain package. In another project, you may want to use a totally different version. So when the packages are managed in a virtual environment, you can be sure you are able to manage the versions as needed. For us to proceed, we need to set up to activate the virtual environment. So what we need to do, let us first of all confirm. So basically, we need to check what is in the venv. Then we have bin. We can see the activate script. So what we need to do, we need to run source, then venv, which is this folder here. Then we have bin, we navigated to bin, then the activate script, then click on enter. Okay. So basically, this may not work in some instances. So if it doesn't work, use this command instead. We have bin /bin/bash. Then we have double dashes. Then we have rc file. Then we include the path to our activate script, and there we go. We can see that we have been able to activate the virtual environment. So at this stage, the first package to install is Django, because basically once we created the virtual environment, what that means is that Python was automatically installed, and also pip was automatically installed on that virtual environment. So what we need to do, we need to install Django. Pip install Django. All right, we are told that it's already satisfied. So in your case, it might take a bit of time to do the installation. Once done, we can start our project. Django admin, start project, then Django tutorial. Basically, by doing that, we have created a project by the name Django tutorial. So let's cd into Django tutorial ls. We can see that we have some files which have been created, and soon we are going to see the contents of those files. So for the code editor, we also need a code editor. So I would highly recommend that we use Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code offers an auto completion, and it has tons of add-ons which you can set to make your development work easier. So basically, visit this website code.visualstudio.com and download Visual Studio Code installation files. So basically, this website will detect your operating system and will give you the download files that matches your operating system. So in my case, I have a db and .rpm, that is for Linux. So for Windows, you will also have your installation files given here. So download and install. Once you complete the installation, what we need to do, navigate to the folder where these files have been generated. I already did that here. Then after doing that, write code, then put a dot so that we open our project files on the Visual Studio Code editor. Basically, if you have another code editor, you can follow along. Once we open our project, we can go through some of these files so that we are able to see the content. One of them is the settings.py. This is the file that stores the global configurations of our project. As we proceed with this tutorial series, we are going to see how to manage most of these settings, adjust, and also add new lines of code. Then the other file that we are going to interact with is the urls.py. This is the file that stores the URL which helps us connect our project to the new applications that we create. We are going to see how to do that shortly. We also have the manage.py. This is the one that connects to the server so that it exposes our project to the server, making it accessible online. We are also going to see where and how to use it. So back to our terminal, I want us to start this project, or rather to start the live server so that we are able to see what our application has for us. So what we need to do, we need to write Python 3 manage.py, then we run the server. All right, we are going to resolve this later. I told that we have 18 unapplied migrations. We are going to resolve that. So in our terminal, as we can see here, we are being told that our project, the development server, is running on this URL. Let us copy the selection and paste it here. So there we go. This is the first page that you get before you start adding projects to your, or rather before you start adding applications to your project. So this is the default Django landing page. So this one will be replaced once we create an application and also do the routing. Let us see how to create a Django application and replace this with what we have here. Just to reflect on the introduction of this tutorial series, we want to have a backend for this website. We want to have a backend for this. So what we need to do, let us navigate back to our Visual Studio Code editor. We have this terminal section. Let us open new terminal so that we can learn our commands in this section. So for us to to create an application, we need to run python manage.py start up, then give the name of the application. So let me give the name of the application as home and click on enter. So this one creates a new application. We can see it here. We have home and we have some other files that have been created. We can just have an overview of the files. So one of the files that we will be interacting with is the admin.py. Here we are going to instruct our application what we need to see in the admin dashboard. Basically, we have the default that has been defined by Django, but we can also customize that. The other file that we will be editing is the model.py. Here we are going to we will be defining classes, which will the classes are meant to map the database for our project. We are going to see that as well. We also have the views. After defining the URLs, here is where we instruct Django what to show when a certain URL is visited. So basically, views.py acts as our data processor. Data from the database is processed on this file, and also definitions are made on how that data is going to be returned to the user. We are also going to see how to work with that. If you also noted, we also have a dbsqlite3 file here. This is the file that stores the data of our website. We are also going to see how it works and where it is used. So back to our goal. What we want this page to show, we want to have this website here. And we are going to see that shortly.